Hey all, what is up? Keasbey here. So today I wanted to bring you a matchup between Floowandereeze and Despia. This match is a little bit more one-sided than the ones that I like to show, but I think it has a huge learning moment in that it demonstrates something I mentioned in a previous Floowander video called the Empen Shuffle, in which you take advantage of Empen and Advent of Adventure in order to get multiple Empen searches in the same turn. So let's get right into the games. Alright, so we are going to start the game off by blind firing a Dimension Shifter since we are going first and there's not really a reason with our hand, like for example if we had called by the grave or something, to wait on firing off the Dimension Shifter. So let's just shut off the two drills that we don't realize our opponent is holding at this point. So we are going to start, and thankfully we opened two birds in Advent, which means that we can actually do the Empen Shuffle with this hand. So we're going to Eaglin, grab the Empen, and we are going to tribute for the Empen. So now Empen effect, chain link 1, chain link 2 the Eaglin to chain block, and Empen we are going to grab the Dreaming Town. You want to, when you're doing this, always grab Dreaming Town first. That's the more important search. So if you can only resolve one Empen search in a turn, say the second one gets ashed or something, it's more important that we used our chain blocks for Dreaming Town. So now we're going to get Stree, banish our Dimension Shifter away, and bounce the Empen out for a Toucan. And now this left us with enough birds to tribute summon for the Empen again, so we're going to do that. And we'll get the chain block, fortunately, and grab an Unexplored Winds. So something I do have to point out that I did a learn from my mistakes moment. Anytime that you're adding cards to hand or drawing or searching in any way in the second main phase, always wait till you finish all of that first before setting anything face down. So because the order I set these face down, our opponent saw a search for Dreaming Town already, and then I set it, and then I added cards to hand with Unexplored Winds, and then said something else. So if they're paying attention, and they have like a Cosmic Cyclone or a Twin Twister or something, they can actually just snipe out the Dreaming Town because the way I played, they know it's there. Not a huge deal, but you know, learn from my mistakes as always. So now, again, we are still under Dimension Shifter here, just a reminder. And this is kind of, just going to be a boring end to the game, but I do just want to point out a reasoning behind something I did here. So we're going to swap out the Empen again, grab our Toucan, recover the Empen, so contribute summon it again for another search for next turn. Grab the map, because that's the only thing we don't have. So I dropped Barrier Statue here. I usually don't like dropping Barrier Statue this early in a turn when our opponent's sitting on 4 cards in hand still. However, we are under Dimension Shifter, so that's already a good sign. They cannot hit the Barrier Statue with Imperm at this point because they've committed a card to the field, and they cannot hit the Barrier Statue with Forbidden Droplets because, as I just said, we are still under Dimension Shifter. And since they already committed their normal summon, I actually feel really safe just putting Statue on the board at this point. And that is going to be the end of Game 1. So now, let's get into Game 2. Alright, so going into Game 2, we are looking at a significantly better hand for our opponent. They've opened some starters and they have their theater. Our hand is good, but it's a little weird because Dimension Shifter and Droll conflict with each other. So unfortunately, depending on how our opponent plays out their turn, we're going to have to commit to just one of these two. And they are going to fire off Theater first and activate the effect. We're going to drop Dimension Shifter here, as they do have cards that activate while they're banished, and they have means of recovering from banish to fuse the Lubeline Dragon, I believe it's called. But it does kind of affect their lines, so. And as I just mentioned, yeah, this guy, Despian Tragedy, is the one that activates when banished. So they're going to fire up a Luber, get a search. I'm going to grab Branded Fusion, fire it off. Get this guy back, special summon it. So we don't know the card in hand, but this fellow over here is going to make it so that anything has a 600 life point activation cost. Aluber is not doing anything at this point. Dramatage is just the body at this point. And I've actually had never seen this card before this game, but it just says that we can't target monsters with effects. So it's going to shut off our Rise Up. Fortunately, Unexplored Winds does not target. So we're going to take some damage to set up, but this is going to be the Empen Shuffle taken to an extreme. We're actually going to tribute away all 4 of these monsters over the course of this turn. So let's watch. We're going to do the first one. Let's get this guy off the field first so we stop taking damage, and drop Empen. So that was Tribute Summon number 1. We're going to drop Rabina. At this point, by the way, since we're under Dimension Shifter and our opponent has no back row, the only hand trap we're concerned about is Ash. And even at this point, Ash isn't a huge deal. We could kind of still have played on through it. It just wouldn't have been as good of a turn. But fortunately, they don't have it. And at this point, we now know we're playing into nothing. Second Tribute Summon for the turn. We're actually going to tribute away the Empen and this Glory Dragon fella for our Apex Avian. So that is going to break the summon chain started by Magnificent Map, but we still have our game mechanic normal summon per turn. And that is going to be spent on Toucan. Toucan is going to recover the Empen, and we are going to do Tribute Summon number 4 using Eluber and our Toucan. So now Tribute Summon number 3. Tribute Summon number 4 is going to be really cool. Watch how it happens. So we're going to go Chainlink 1 Empen's effect, Chainlink 2 Toucan, and Chainlink 3 we're actually going to negate Toucan coming back to our hand with Apex Avian so that we can get Apex Avian back in our hand as the resolution of Chainlink 3, and then when Empen as Chainlink 1 finishes resolving, we can actually re-tribute summon the Apex Avian back to our field. So in exchange for losing Toucan coming back to our hand, we're going to get Apex Avian back on the field and clear our opponent's last monster. So now we're going to get in for some damage, and because we have both Dreaming Town and Advent of Adventure in our hand, and access to Toucan over here, we can actually redo that whole thing on our opponent's turn. 1, 2, 3. So as I previously mentioned, and in all fairness to our opponent game 1, they did not have the best hand. I almost didn't want to include game 1 in here, but it had the Empen Shuffle on turn 1, so I just wanted to use that to illustrate that. That wasn't saying anything about them or how they played, because again, they were just stuck with a very unfortunate hand. But game 2, we got to really see how cool Unexplored Winds can get when you can just use it over and over and over, in our case 4 times in a single turn, and how Empen Search is not a once per turn. So if you guys like what you saw, and maybe you learned something, then don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and check back in later for even more videos. I will catch you guys later.